In today's video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite fragrance notes, and that is the note of cherry. If you're interested, then just keep watching. Before we get into the video, I do want to quickly introduce myself for those of you who may be new here. My name is Aisha. I make videos about fragrance, beauty, luxury, and lifestyle. If those are things you're interested in, please consider subscribing. And if you are a returning subscriber, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So before we get into the fragrances, let's have a little bit of background on my taste and my fragrances in my collection. So cherry is really popping right now, like really popping. It's very popular. A lot of people are talking about it. I've honestly thought so many times about not doing this video because there are so many cherry videos out on YouTube right now that I was like, you know, who cares about my opinion? But I figured I would go ahead and do it. Number one, because you all asked me to in another video, but also because I went through my cherry loving phase probably a couple years ago. So cherry is not new to me. It's not a note that I just started gravitating to. And because of that, you will see once I get into my collection that I don't have like every single cherry fragrance out. So you're not going to see any Duchessa Gritty in this video. You're not going to see Venom of Love. You're not going to see, what else? What's another popular one? Bodacious. I think it's called Bodacious, or I don't know. I will pop a picture. But you're not going to see those in this video because honestly, I feel like I have my favorite cherry, and the more that I keep trying cherry fragrances, they just never measure up. So I am happy. I'm content with the cherries in my collection. Now, does that mean I will never get another cherry fragrance? Absolutely not, because when this new Tom Ford Cherry Smoke comes out, I will definitely be getting that. So, well, I shouldn't say definitely, but I will probably be getting that one. But other than that, I'm really not on the market for any more cherry fragrances. So I figured my opinion would be a little bit unique in that regard, and I hope you find this video helpful, although I don't have every single cherry fragrance on the market. So the way I decided to structure this video is we're going to talk about all the cherry fragrances in my collection from my least favorite to my most favorite. And I really included only fragrances that I feel cherry is like the main character of, or it may be like neck and neck with another ingredient. So we'll kind of talk about those as we go along. Okay, let's go ahead and get into these fragrances. So in 8th place, we have Amouage Blossom Love. Now this is in 8th place for me because this is not a cherry fruit fragrance, but I still wanted to include it in this video because I figured this would be a good time for me to talk about this fragrance for those of you who don't necessarily love cherry fruit, but you may love a floral cherry. So this is a cherry blossom fragrance. However, I do feel like the cherry blossom in this is really strong. And so if you like cherry and you want a floral take on that, I think this one will be a good choice. So again, like I said, this is a cherry blossom fragrance. So you definitely smell that cherry note, but it's mainly a floral fragrance that is thick. It is kind of heavy. It's a little bit old school as far as the way that it is done. But the cherry blossom to me really kind of modernizes this fragrance because it reminds me of like an old school floral, but with an unexpected floral note. This also kind of smells like it has a little bit of an almondy background. So I don't know if almond is a note in this or heliotrope, which can kind of come off almond scented as well. But that's what I get when I smell this fragrance. This is one of those fragrances that I have to really be in the mood to wear because it is a thick, heavy floral, and I'm not the biggest floral fan, but I do still really enjoy it. So that's why it is still in my collection. So again, that is Amouage Blossom Love. In 6th place, we have Kayali Love Fest Burning Cherry. So this fragrance, y'all, don't click out of the video. I know a lot of people love this fragrance, and I don't think it's a bad fragrance, but I will tell you, for me, it just wasn't what I was hoping for when I heard Kayali was coming out with a cherry fragrance. I do have a video all about this fragrance, so if you want to know like every detail on my thoughts on this, definitely check out my video. I will link it for you. But basically, when I smell this, I get a slightly boozy cherry at the opening, and then it kind of dries down into more of a powdery cherry scent. I I do get some woods in the background, but I really wanted more of those woods. I wanted more of the burning cherry effect on my skin, and that is not what I get. I know other people have a different experience with this, but for me, that's not what I get. And when you couple that disappointment in how it smells with the poor projection and longevity of this fragrance, that's why it's so far down on my list. Do I hate this fragrance? Absolutely not. Would I recommend this fragrance to people? It wouldn't be my #1 recommendation, but I think that it is an easygoing cherry. So for somebody that maybe is just getting into fragrance, just starting to try out some niche fragrances, this could be a nice option for them. But just for me and where my collection is at, that's why it's kind of low down this list. But it's not a horrible fragrance. It smells good. It's pleasant. It's pretty. I've been wearing this to bed every now and again. It's just not something that I really find myself longing to wear. So again, that is Kayali Love Fest Burning Cherry. In 5th place, we have Attar Collection Caltet Night. Now this fragrance, I didn't know if I was going to put in this video, to be completely honest, because this is one of those fragrances that the cherry note kind of battles with the other notes in this fragrance for leading role. However, I still consider this a cherry fragrance. To me, this is a cherry tobacco fragrance. So to me, in this fragrance, the cherry and the tobacco notes go hand in hand. Now, in addition to the cherry tobacco smell that I get, there also smells like there is some sweetness in this fragrance, like a honey type sweetness. It also smells like maybe apple is in this fragrance. I'm not sure if it is, but it kind of smells like a gourmand, like apple pie type note in this fragrance. And overall, it's very beautiful. This is perfect for cold to cool weather. I thoroughly enjoy wearing this fragrance. I know it's still kind of low down on the list, but that's mainly because when I think of this, I don't think of it as just a cherry fragrance. I kind of think of it as cherry tobacco. So when it comes to cherry notes, this is #5 on my list, but I absolutely love this fragrance. And I would highly recommend this if you're looking for a cherry tobacco scent. So again, that is Attar Collection Caltet Night. So in 4th place, we have Mancera Wild Cherry. This fragrance does not get talked about a lot, but I honestly feel like it should because it's a great cherry fragrance. So to me, this smells like a light, fun, fizzy cherry. It reminds me of what I would think a cherry soda would smell, although it does not smell like actual cherry soda. So let me kind of explain that. When I smell this, if I had never had a cherry soda before, I would think this smelled like cherry soda. It smells like a natural cherry mixed with the fizziness of soda. When I think about cherry fragrances, I feel like they can either be sexy or fun. And this one falls on the fun side of cherry for me. It's nothing too serious, but it is really good. And this performs very, very well. So if you are looking for a cherry fragrance that will last, because I know a lot of cherry fragrances don't last that great, y'all, let's just be honest. But if you're looking for a cherry fragrance that lasts and that projects, this may be one that you want to look into, because this one, every time I wear it, I get a ton of compliments because people can always smell it on me. I don't really overspray this one, but people can always smell this on me, and it lasts all day through an entire work shift for me. So again, that is Mancera Wild Cherry. All right, we're at the top 3, so the best of the best, y'all. And so in my #3 spot, we have BDK Rouge Smoking. So this is absolutely beautiful. This is one of those fragrances that I did a review on a while back, and I wasn't extremely impressed with this fragrance. I got rid of it, and this is one of the few fragrances that I've gotten rid of and repurchased and fell back in love with. So I feel like that says a lot. But anyway, so Rouge Smoking to me, in simple terms, is a cherry root beer. That's what it smells like to me. So you get that cherry note that is definitely more on the fun side in my opinion, but you also have a vanilla, I believe, in this fragrance, and it definitely smells like tonka could be in this fragrance as well, which gives it a little bit of depth, a little bit of sweetness. And it kind of also has a bit of an almondy vibe in this fragrance. I don't think almond is a note in this particular fragrance, but I get an almondy vibe when I smell this. This one is quite addictive to me. It does have a little bit of spice to it. I know smoking is in the name, and some people do get like a burning effect from this, but I honestly don't. I do feel like in the dry down, there is some woodiness to it, and maybe that's where the smoking part comes from. But for me, this smells like cherry root beer, to keep it simply, and I absolutely love it. Quite addictive. Although performance is not the best on this, it's definitely improved in this bottle compared to my old bottle. The first bottle I had, I felt like I couldn't smell it on myself at all, like pretty much. You can check out my review. I'll link it for you all, but I feel like when I got my second bottle, right off the bat, it performed a whole lot better. So although this is not the longest lasting scent, for me, it lasts long enough. Like I'm getting at least probably about 5 to 6 hours out of this fragrance. And I feel like that's pretty darn good. I actually like to wear this to bed as well because I feel like it's fun, but it's also kind of slightly cozy. I don't know. I find this fragrance very comforting. So if you like Dior Hypnotic Poison, I think you may like this fragrance. They do not smell alike, but I feel like they share some similarities, and this is like a cherry take on Hypnotic Poison, but not exactly the same. So anyway, that is BDK Rouge Smoking. So number 2 on my list is very new to my collection, and this is Boho Boca Wet Cherry Liquor. So I feel like this fragrance became popular when Fumi Monet on Instagram and TikTok. I don't follow her on TikTok because I'm not really on TikTok like that. But on Instagram, I do follow her. And when she talked about this fragrance, I feel like it blew up. Everybody started talking about it. Everybody started buying it. I have to admit, I was a skeptic, okay? Because this is a newer fragrance. And like I said, I'm not really trying to be buying all these cherry fragrances. And I felt like the way that it was described and the way that people were talking about it, I honestly felt like it was going to be another Lost Cherry. Spoiler alert, Lost Cherry is in this video, okay? Did anybody not guess that? If you've been watching my channel, I'm sure you knew that Lost Cherry was in this video, right? But anyway, I thought it was going to be too similar to Lost Cherry. And I'm honestly tired of people trying to dupe Lost Cherry. Like, I get why, but I'm over it. However, when I sprayed this on my skin, I was pleasantly surprised. So let's go ahead. Hold up. Number 1 is Lost Cherry. That's no surprise to anybody here. So let's go ahead and get that out there. Number 1 is Lost Cherry because when I talk about Wet Cherry Liquor, this is a newer fragrance. So I kind of want to really compare it. And because it gets compared so much to Lost Cherry, I feel like I kind of have to talk about them both. So anyway, so when I got this fragrance and I sprayed it on my skin, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this and how different it was from Lost Cherry. I was pleasantly surprised. So to me, this is a very fun, bubbly cherry scent with some liquor in it. So Lost Cherry to me is more of a sultry, deep, dark, boozy cherry. This one is a fun, playfully sexy cherry lacquer, like lacquer. This is not a sophisticated liqueur. This is lacquer, okay? So it smells very, I almost feel like it smells a little bit kitschy, but I love it. It works. It's doing something different in my collection. And although it is different than the type of fragrances that I normally go for, I actually really enjoy this. So again, this is a fun, bright cherry scent with some alcoholic notes in it. I'm not even really sure what type of alcohol, but it definitely smells boozy. As this fragrance dries down, I get something that comes out on my skin that pulls slightly leathery. I don't think leather is a note in this fragrance, but it pulls slightly leathery. It also has like a caramel tone to it. So this fragrance actually really reminds me of La Capitale from Xerjoff, if you have tried that fragrance. But a cherry take on that. So to me, La Capitale smells more like a strawberry caramel leathery type scent. This one, as it dries down, becomes more of like a cherry caramel leathery type scent. Now, I've never heard this talked about in the same conversation as La Capitale, and I do not think they are dupes, but honestly, that's what this fragrance reminds me of in the dry down. In the beginning, it is just this bright, fizzy, boozy, fun cherry scent. And I love it. I actually think this fragrance lasts a long time as well. This was a risky blind buy for me because I've only tried one other fragrance from this brand and I did not like it, like at all. So I really was not going to buy this, but one day I was late night shopping, y'all. Late night shopping. Came across this for a decent price, like lower than retail. It was on a retailer site, but it was from another country, so it was lower than what I would normally pay here in the US. And because I was adding other stuff to my cart, I just threw this in my bag as well. So I'm very happy to have it because you see it is number 2 in my collection. So if you've been thinking about trying wet cherry liquor, I would say get a sample if you can and see if you like it. I don't think this will be for everyone. I don't think it's probably the most likable scent, but to me it's fun. It's a nice new take on cherry, something that was missing in the cherry world. It's not just another clone of Lost Cherry. So again, that is Boho Boco Wet Cherry Liquor. So obviously in the number 1 spot, we have Tom Ford Lost Cherry. This is the fragrance that made me fall in love with the note of cherry. I purchased this pretty early in my fragrance journey. Like, I've been a fragrance lover for a long time, but once I really started trying to look up fragrances and watch fragrance videos and buy new fragrances blindly, this is one that I purchased pretty early on, which now that I look back, I'm like, why did I do that? The price tag on this is absolutely ridiculous, even though it was a little bit cheaper back then. But anyway, this is one that I blind bought and ended up loving, and it really made me love the note of cherry. So this fragrance is a boozy, deep, dark, sultry, sexy cherry fragrance. This one to me is all about like date night, Netflix and chill. I can wear this during the day, but honestly, it just makes me feel very sexy and sultry. And so I typically reserve it for nighttime, but this is definitely one you could wear during the day pretty much anytime. I think it's just very versatile. It is not too thick and too heavy so that you couldn't wear it during warm weather. I think you can wear this actually year round. Now, I know people complain about the performance on Lost Cherry, and I get it. It's not the longest lasting fragrance for this amount of dollars that it costs. But for me, I love the way it smells so much that I honestly don't care. On me, this lasts probably about 5 hours. And I know that's not a lot. I get it, y'all. I totally understand. But for me, when it comes to this fragrance, I do not care. I love it that much. I love the way it smells on me. I love the way it makes me feel when I smell it. And there is a reason that there are so many fragrances that are coming out that are similar to this fragrance, because it started a cherry movement. Like, let's just respect the queen, okay? Anyway, I know Lost Cherry is not for everybody, but it is for me, and it still holds the number 1 spot in my cherry collection. So again, that is Tom Ford Lost Cherry. So those are my cherry fragrances. Like I said, I know I don't have every single cherry fragrance available, but honestly, like, I'm a person who is buying most of my fragrances, and I'm just not going to go out and buy stuff that I'm not interested in, to be completely honest. So if you guys have tried any of the fragrances that I mentioned, let's talk about them in the comments. Let me know what you think of them. If there are any other cherry fragrances that you recommend for others, maybe not necessarily for me, but if you recommend them for others, definitely leave those in the comments below, because I'm not the end all be all when it comes to fragrance, y'all. So definitely leave y'all comments down below. That might help someone else. I'm not in the market for any cherries, but somebody else may be, okay? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and have your notification bells on so that you don't miss a video from me. I typically upload 3 times a week, so there is plenty of content on my channel. If you're not already following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me over there as well. I like to chit chat with y'all in my DMs and my stories pretty much on the daily, so definitely check me out on Instagram. I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.